Welcome to today's show. We have a special guest with us, Joshua. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for having me, Rudy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's been great to get to know you over the last several weeks. I've had the honor and pleasure of getting actually to play together in a live event just a couple weeks ago in Austin, the World AI Summit. Congratulations on your massive success at your event, man.
Thank you. You too. And congratulations on your awesome hat. I have one right here too. The same.
Yeah, this was swag from the event, from the real-time AI swag. Yeah, for our guests who are joining us here, maybe for the first time, just hearing about you, I want to just share a couple bio points in your background. You've been doing events for quite a while in various niches and industries. As far back as over 10 years ago, you built a business within 12 months to $10 million a year. You're a best-selling author, and you currently are running a business training teams on how to use AI in their companies to automate all of the systems and processes and get them out of doing the boring tasks so they can focus more on high leverage activities, which is really awesome.
Yeah, it's been a crazy, actually, it's been probably about 20 something years since I started doing events. It's like the easiest way, I think, to start building a company is to be coaching or doing these events because you make fire from sticks, right? Kind of situation. You can go out with just your knowledge and share it with people, and then they'll sign up and pay your life's expenses so you can keep doing it. It's a great transition during events and into owning your own business. And if you have your own business, it's obviously a deep way of engaging with customers. There's no other way of doing it like this.
Yeah, and you definitely demonstrated that at your most recent event. It was a world-class experience. You brought in world-class speakers. You brought in a world-class MC. Your attendees were super excited to be there. I actually got to meet many of them and talk to a lot of them. And I could tell that it wasn't your first rodeo. You knew how to bring people together and make sure they had a great experience. So,
Yeah. Every time it feels like it's my first rodeo. But yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's everything's always new and wonderful and exciting. And at the same time, makes it a little bit easier to get things done when you're not scrambling all the time as well. And you know how to say, let certain things go.
yeah, you did great at that. And you did a great job bringing good people around you, competent people around you that you could trust and let them do their thing. So you focus on what you do best. And jumping right into the content here for our audience, I know the number one top of mind question that I get or the pain point that people face, which we can all relate to, is, hey, I have an event. How do I get people to my event? And Josh, you have a strong background in sales and marketing. Love to hear from you. Maybe just share recently what worked for you in your most recent event, and generally speaking, like how do you go about filling your events?
So there's two major philosophies when it comes to this. I would say maybe three, but we'll just break into two. One is let all of your speakers do the heavy lifting, and the other is do all the heavy lifting yourself, right? And that's really the two different schools of thought make two different types of events. Those two different types of events are one that's heavily incentivizing the speakers to promote, to get people at the event. I think the combination of this is really great. At the same time, I do not like a pitch fest event where everybody's there thinking that, oh, the customers are basically fish in a barrel and they're just show up with their gun, right? Speakers. And I don't like that. I don't like being at those events and I don't like hosting those events. So I didn't want to do that myself. It makes it harder for building customers if you don't have a customer base, right? So let's look at those two different directions. If you do want to go the route of getting your speakers to promote and do most of the promotion, then you do have to highly incentivize them. And one way to do that is commissions, right? The ticket sales commissions is one, but it's not enough, right? Getting a ticket sale commission is not going to be enough to excite the speakers. What you need is some kind of upside of upsells or something like that might happen at the event or after the event. So you make a deal with them. You say, I'll give you this percentage. A good percentage is 50, if you can pull it off, of the ticket sale. And then anything that happens at the event that comes from somebody that you sent to the event, I will give you X percentage. Sometimes it's anywhere from 30 to 75%, depending on what you're selling. If you're selling a program that you don't have to personally fulfill, so it's like a online training or something that you already have set up, and you're just putting them into it and they just go through the process, then you can afford to give away a lot more, and you should. And that's what you should do. Because at the end of the day, we had 10,800 affiliates in my coaching company back in the day. That's a lot of people selling your product, right? And we noticed that when we were converting well and we were doing well, it's like making sales for them, they would promote more. And that's the formula. So if your stuff sells well and you have a really good upsell path, and you can convert people and make sales at the event or after the event, then make those deals ahead of time. The one thing I think that sacrifices whenever you do that is that you now are picking speakers based on whether or not they're going to have a big list. And that sometimes can get you really bad speakers that just have a really big following. They don't really fit your audience. They don't fit your ethos, that kind of thing. So that's something to consider. That's one side. The other way is to do it yourself. So where you do most of the promotion yourself. And that's where you will actually go, like you're on a book tour. You'll go around and speak about this, and you'll talk on other platforms, and they'll promote it for you. You'd be surprised at how many people are willing to support you with your training events, with your live events, just to highlight you, to let people know that's what's up. I mean, we had the news station in Austin come and interview us and stuff too, and they were there. So there's a lot of like little opportunities like that as well. But by far, the best way to get somebody get a butt in a seat for an event is price it well. Definitely, like the whole package, have an offer that they can't refuse. You price it well for that offer. You reach them where they are. You can run your own ads, things like that. That's what we did as well. And if you're new to ads, you're not going to get a lot of sales from ads, but the ones that you do get are going to be very valuable to you. And then finally, when you're doing your own promotion and you're running around doing all that stuff, you have to consider using the assets that you currently have. That is a really big and mostly overlooked spot of value for people. So that could just mean your phone. Go into your contacts in your phone, let people know, I'm doing an event here. Do you want to come? And you'd be surprised at how many people will just say, oh, cool, let's hear more. That might want a discount. That's fine. Just get the people there that need to be there. And then once you hit a certain size, a certain number of people, say it's 150 people or something like that, it starts to snowball. And then things get a little bit easier for you to fill seats. But you need to get to that spot. So whatever you got to do to get to that spot, I would do it. So a lot of people, what they do is they think, oh, I'm going to have this massive number of people there and it's going to be a huge event. But I've found that with smaller events, I oftentimes do way better. I mean, we'll make more sales. We got happier people. I can focus more on the people that show up, can price it higher. So people that show up are of a different caliber, and it's less work because you have fewer heads to wrangle and fewer seats to fill. So also people can imagine scarcity when it comes to a 30-person event. They can't imagine scarcity when it comes to a 5,000-person event. So it's a little bit easier to manage. So those are a few of the quick notes. Of course, I've had different types of events, large events and small events. And I got to say, there's definitely a sweet spot for me personally that is not too big, somewhere definitely less than 500 people, less than 100 people even. And somewhere in that space is super intimate, super fun. And people do really, they could walk away from it appreciating a lot. And, each year it's different. I've done tours as well where you go down to different countries and tour and teach there in those spots. And you have a podcast, right? When you have a podcast and you give value constantly, same as a social media, you have an audience of people that engage with your content constantly. Those people are your lead source. And just doing the work to actually talk to them and answering their questions is worth it to get the right people in the door.
Yeah, that's great, man. There's a lot of golden nuggets here. I'm taking copious notes on my end. I'll share a couple of my takeaways for our audience. Big picture, you can, one of two ways you can really incentivize the speakers to do it, both on ticket sales as well as potential back end. Or you can do it yourself in a variety of ways of doing it yourself between personal reach, ads, getting out on to media, and really leveraging the audience, engaging with your audience. But one of my big takeaways here is with the speakers is the con to focusing on the incentives of the speakers is the tendencies to want to go find the speakers with the biggest list that may actually not be in alignment with your event or your audience or your ethos or mission. But that's the tendency that people tend to go, and they may not be great speakers, which can detract value from the room itself. Yeah, thank you for that, man. This was great. So you just hosted an event. You had them in your sweet spot, about 100 to roughly 150 people there this past several days in Austin. And it was a pretty heavy topic, AI, all right? AI business, like it's not an easy thing to grasp, and it's new definitions, terminologies for a lot of people. even people who are experienced, it's still like it's heavy on the brain, right? How did you go about once people were there, maintaining that engagement with them, right? Making sure that they're actually getting value from the information that's coming in, that they're in the room, that they're participating, that they're leaving the event being like, yes, I'm glad I went to the event. So if you want to speak to that, I think that'd be very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. So my philosophy around this is just that if you have amazing content and you're hitting the nail on the head with what you're offering everybody, that the people on stage are giving away their best stuff, that you will get people in the seats and they will sit there and they will be there for the event. If you miss the mark on it, they won't be. Toward the end of the event, people might dip out. That's not a problem, but it just happens sometimes. But a small percentage of the people will have to leave early because they just don't set their time properly. Or even better, they meet somebody at the event and they're going to leave tomorrow and they need to meet with them and set up a partnership or something. So they need to duck out to do that. So I don't think it's a bad thing if some of the people are missing from the seats when you have your event. However, the best hack here is just to get kick-ass speakers that agree to give away their best stuff. If they do that, then you should never be the star of the show of your own event, in my opinion. It should be the speakers that are the stars of the event from your perspective. Now, from everybody else's perspective, maybe they think that you are, that's fine. But from your perspective, you should not be doing it to put yourself in the center, but you should be doing it to highlight the people who are speaking so that you can build a legacy out of this thing. No one wants to go to the Josh show. I mean, maybe some people do, but not that many people want to go to the Josh show. And what they want, though, is solutions to big problems. And AI is a big question mark problem. It's not just a FOMO. I'm going to miss out on this whole thing. It's also complexity that needs to be simplified. And we did that by having people speak on topics that are applicable to the business so that you could say, hey, this is how I'm using this for social media content, or this is how I'm using it for market research for my marketing, or this is how I'm using it for sales. And everybody had a different thing that they were using it for. One guy was making sales videos with lifelike avatars that are AI avatars, and he's working with a multi-billion-dollar company doing that for them. So we had some kick-ass people, and these people are mostly not speaking on stage because they're busy doing their thing. They're using AI to rock things on their side. So instead of trying to educate everybody, this is how you speak about AI, these are the terms, that kind of thing, we went another route. We said, okay, we're going to show you how to apply this stuff to your business. Even better, though, because the more complicated it is, the more likely it is that people are going to walk away with their head spinning. And you don't really want that to happen either. You want people to walk away going, wow, I'm going to do that and that right now with my business. Like, you want them texting people in break and going, hey, you have to check out this app and you have to do this thing, or going up to the speakers afterwards and saying, hey, can we talk? That's what you want. If you start to see that happen, then that means that you're nailing it. So I think that's the big long-term vision secret for an event and if it's just you doing the event, it's only your content, that's totally okay as well. But it shouldn't be you that shines. It should be your content. People should be applying the content. And that's how you know that it's worked, if they're actually doing it and applying it afterwards. But a complex topic like AI, it's really easy to get lost in the how do I look like I know what I'm talking about kind of conversation. And it's really difficult to get people to give up their secret sauce, because the secret sauce these people were sharing on the stage 2 years ago, it would have been something they would never share with anybody, ever. But it's moving so fast, this industry, that I got them to actually agree to do it, to talk about it, because they know that in 2 years from now, not going to be the same anyway. And people were going to see this stuff and they're going to go, oh, that person knew about this back then. I wonder what they're doing now, and long term it's going to support them. Yeah, again, it's just the amazing people speaking about amazing stuff. And I always look at it like cannibalizing. If they cannibalize their greatest opportunities for the benefit of the people in the audience who are wise enough to know to show up.
Yeah, awesome, man. Give them the best stuff, select the best speakers. Ultimately, whether it's the speakers or it's you alone in your content, it shouldn't be you. It shouldn't be the you show. It should be the speaker shining or your content shining. And that's how you know that it's valuable and people are applying it.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, great, man. And then people are there with you 2, 3 days at the event. And you and I both know that, yeah, they probably definitely got value, got a lot of new ideas, a lot of new insights. And if they leave there and not have support beyond the event, life gets in the way, right? That's why as event leaders, we do our best to have ongoing support beyond the event. I know you offer a world-class company team training on AI. I'd love to hear from your perspective how you go about ensuring that you can continue the relationship and reinforce the learning and make sure that they're continuing to apply and get the results beyond the event.
Yes, there's so many ways to offer value after an event. The timing and the vacuum of the offer is also valuable too. So you don't need to follow up every single day after an event. It doesn't need to be like every single day for the rest of the year. You need to always be there following up. You can create a little space where if they don't, where they can feel like you're not there, that's not a problem because that vacuum creates this realization they can't apply this without a support, an area of support. So what we did is we created a members area that, or just a pocket of members inside of a members area. We use Circle to do it. Circle's a great company for quick members areas. Throw them up and then engage in them. And we put all the people at the event. You couldn't see the itinerary unless you were inside that members area. That's where we delivered the itinerary. So everybody could log in, see the itinerary, and see what was coming up. And so it incentivized a lot of people to join. So now we also have their email addresses, of course, and their physical addresses. So we worked out a deal with Ray Kurzweil, who's a well-known AI name, and he's sending everybody who was at the event his new book, which hasn't come out yet. So it'll be like first hot off the presses, brand new, cutting edge stuff. And this reminds them, like these little things that remind them. If we say the members area is another place that reminds them too, but the next piece of this, I think, if you don't do this next part, you're really missing out on an awesome opportunity. And that is send them clips of the videos from the live event via email for the rest of the year, basically until your next event shows up or until you start promoting your next event. Send them regular clips from the event. Here's this thing this person said. Also, you can promote and have guest speaking and webinars with the speakers and with a couple people that couldn't get on with you and couldn't get on stage, and invite everybody from the group who was attended to those webinars. So you just keep delivering this value and don't ask for anything really while you do this. These are people who have already paid to be at the event. They're really high value people. Instead of sending us a message to them and saying, okay, now buy something, that will diminish, that'll make them not want to go next year. If you keep delivering value to them and keep them in communication with you, keep delivering this content or whatever it is they're looking for, then they'll start to raise their hands and ask for more support. And when that happens, feel free to promote to them whatever you want to promote to them. But I wouldn't push. The big mistake I see is people pushing the upsell like aggressively after the event, and not, there should be a 10-to-1 content only to upsell promotion ratio when it comes to post event. And so when you get the videos in, for example, of the event, when you get webinars set up for people and you want to talk to the speakers or speak to a couple of extra experts and you invite everybody in to come join, just give that to them. And then after you do that maybe 10 times, then you can send an email or something out that says, hey, personal email, like not something that's a blast or anything like that, but something that says, hey, I want to check in on you and see if you had any questions, how you're doing applying the stuff, surveys, things like that. Those are personal. Those don't feel like sales at all, but they give you the information that you want, which is who is ready to take the next step. And you'll see that a lot of people, they need time to, after an event, to realize that the event glow, when it wears off, what kind of support do they actually need? Because when they're at the event glow, it makes it seem like they don't need any support. They've got all the support they're ever going to need ever. When they go back to their life, they realize, oh goodness, now I need a support group here. So yeah, I'm really a big believer in high value follow-up. That it's not a lot of promotion and just like little chunks, bite-sized chunks to them constantly. And every once in a while, some webinar type stuff or interview type things, and just invite them all into it.
Awesome, man. Yeah. A few takeaways here. Again, another almost full page of notes from just that one section. When you do post-event follow-up, one, actually, it can work in your behalf to have them not hear from you for a little bit. So that event and glow kind of wears off where they think they can do it all themselves. and they start to realize that either they can't or they're not doing it. Maybe they're capable, but for whatever reason, they're not doing it right, and they realize that they need help. And then the way you continue to stay and keep in the conversation is dripping clips from the event, also potentially adding some bonus trainings with some of the speakers that people continue to come to, and or surveys, and basically allowing people to organically raise their hand saying, hey, I'd like to have a conversation. I'd like to learn more, and building goodwill so that when the next event comes out that you promote, that you've already added so much value that they're going to raise their hand to come to the next one.
Yeah, lots of people talk after events. And then when the next event comes, they talk to each other and they go, oh, you went last year. How was it? And if they say, oh, this is a pitch fest or it was great, but then after the event, you have to make sure you unsubscribe because blah, blah, blah. Like you don't want anything like that in the way. You want just to be glowing, amazing responses. Like, oh yeah, they're amazing. They took care of us, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, this is great. I appreciate you sharing your insights, especially given your most recent experience with the World AI Summit. Josh, if people want to learn more about you, what you do for companies, what would be the best way for them to get a hold of you to learn more?
Yeah, go to rltm.ai is our site, rltm.ai, and then just at the bottom, you'll see a way to reach out to us, or you can apply and get to know us better that way too, and join the AI training group. It's a really amazing team training group. But the best way to reach out, though, is to do that, put their email in, and then just ask us questions. Contact us basically that way. We don't really do social media, not really. I mean, we have social media accounts, but we're an AI company, so you can imagine we can use a lot of AI to do a lot of stuff, so that we don't have to watch it very carefully. And yeah, and the other best way, if they do comment on this interview, we'll be able to see that and follow up with them as well.
Okay, great. Awesome. And Josh, as a little bonus question here for our audience, you led an event and you also used AI to help reduce some of the hassle of the event so that you could focus on high leverage activities. Love to hear specifically how you're using AI, how you used AI, because I know event leaders here are like, that's what I want. I want to do what Josh did.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you used it at your event?
Yeah. So yeah, there's so many things that I used AI for at this event. It would take too long to say them all, but I'll say a few of them that was just like, holy crap, this was a lifesaver for me. One of them was when I was making the sales page, we used AI to do all the research on the statistics that we put on the page. So like what percentage of people were using AI in business, what percentage of people are falling behind with AI, what companies are seeing numbers wise, that kind of thing. We just use ChatGPT for this. You can use Perplexity as well. And we just asked it to search online for the statistics that we were looking for and then grabbed them and wove them into the copy for the sales page. So that was really helpful. Show notes, everything that we needed for any statistics that we needed for notes, we did the same thing live at the event. If the MC needed to say something that was intelligent and statistic related, that to anchor something, then we had all those pre-designed and pre-written for every speaker's topic. So they could choose between whatever they wanted. But the thing that ended up taking the most time to me was reaching out to these speakers and actually getting them to promote or to mention it, just so people knew it was real and it was really happening. And I found that would take me an entire day. I would sit down to write those emails and they all need to be very personal and they're all from me. So what I did is instead of sitting down to write all the emails, I sat down for about an hour and made an AI system. It doesn't take very long to build them if you know what you're doing, and made an AI system that would write the emails to the specific speakers for me. And so I could do all this affiliate follow-up all at once by just pushing some buttons. And then I could send the emails straight within my AI. I didn't have to go into my inbox, nothing. So that way I could change something really simple. And if I wanted to give an update to everybody, but it would write a personal email to all these speakers because no speaker wants to receive a blast email at all. I mean, no one wants to, honestly, but speakers especially don't want to. They want to be treated like they're special. Otherwise, they know that they're going to get at the event. They're not going to be treated special there either. So there was that. We did a lot of design stuff with it as well, presentations, all sorts of stuff with it. We were going to do even more with it, even more than that, if we had a little more extra space to do that. But you know what? We had so little time. It's surprising how much stuff you need to get done in a small period of time and how many things show up and crop up for you to have to deal with. So we had these tools, a series of different tools that we used with AI that just made the whole thing Actually, it made it possible to do it. Otherwise, it would not have been possible to do this event without it. The big thing though is really the follow up. And we had an event. An event, you have to check everybody in, and there's all these programs to do that. And they're expensive and they're crappy, and they don't integrate with anything. Ticketing systems, they're really bad, and a strange industry. So we're like, screw that. We're just going to make our own. We made our own in about 2 hours, and it was done, and it was AI-ified. So if we want to do anything special, we could totally do it. Extract something, produce it specifically for a customer, any notes, things like that. So it was a really high value thing for us in empowering everybody with AI and the team. And there's a few other things too, but those were to me, because I was the one doing all these things I'm telling you right now. So they were really impactful for me to do that stuff. So
That's amazing, man. I'm putting myself in the listener's shoes now. I'm like, okay, now tell me, I want the master class on how to do everything you just described, right?
I was like showing people like recording Loom videos from the team, being like, "Hey, check this out!" Because I just felt so fun. It's so fun to do it. Look at what
Yeah,
I'm doing right now. I'm just doing this once, and I just click buttons, and it does it all for me. So pretty
it's
cool.
so cool, man. Yeah, for our listeners tuning in here, if learning how to use AI to grow your business, your event business, or other elements of your business, doing less redundant work or focusing on more high leverage activities, helping automate your sales and marketing processes, I invite you to click the link in the chat here that you'll find all the resources to connect with Josh and his team, have a conversation with them, and discover how real-time AI could potentially help you guys in your business as well. So, Josh, thanks for being with us today, man. This has been a great interview. Really appreciate you, man.
I
This is a great time. Thank you.
appreciate you. Thank you so much.